I'm Keith Peters. Pennsylvania awards funds to redevelop Pittsburgh's Tree of Life Synagogue.
The state of Pennsylvania has awarded $6.6 million for the redevelopment of Pittsburgh's Tree of Life Synagogue. It's where a gunman killed 11 people in 2018 in the nation's deadliest attack on Jews. The defendant in the synagogue massacre awaits trial. Prosecutors are seeking a death sentence for 48-year-old Robert Bowers, who has pleaded not guilty. The governor's administration says the funding will help transform the site of the worst anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history into a new place of hope, remembrance, and education. I'm Walter Ratliff.
The United States will stage a diplomatic boycott of the upcoming Winter Olympics in Beijing to protest Chinese human rights abuses.
President Biden has decided not to attend or send any U.S. government officials to the 2022 Winter Games.
U.S. diplomatic or official representation would treat these games as business as usual.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the U.S. can't do that given an ongoing genocide and other human rights abuses in China. But she says American athletes will still compete.
We will be behind them 100% as we cheer them on from home.
Greg Clugston, Washington.
The elite Russian state hackers behind last year's massive SolarWinds cyber espionage campaign hardly eased up this year, managing plenty of infiltrations of U.S. and allied government agencies and foreign policy think tanks with consummate craft and stealth. So says the leading cybersecurity firm Mandiant, a year after it discovered the SolarWinds campaign. Taking a look at the Wall Street numbers, the Dow up by 646 points. The Nasdaq rose by 139. The S&P 500 advancing 53. Oil up 369 to 69.95 a barrel. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395. Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a free wheelchair case, a $50 value, yours free. The Feather Chair. The world's lightest wheelchair is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or insurance accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. That's 800-823-5826.
Out-of-date carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to No Judgment Here. I am your host, Tish Ross. Tonight, we welcome back Greg McBrayer to the show to finish sharing his incredible journey in his life thus far. Thank you, Greg, for coming back. But I have to tell you guys that Greg and I just finished chatting sort of about how this evening's interview is going to go. And if you didn't tune in to the first show, you want to go back and listen to it to really understand what Greg is going to share this evening. I'm going to tell you that even myself, I blown away by the recklessness and then the beauty that it's like I hate to use the analogy with the caterpillar and the butterfly, but I really can't think of anything. It's like, dang, it was so ugly and now it's so beautiful, But I mean, I guess a caterpillar can be beautiful as well, obviously. But man, we've got so much to talk about, and so we're going to go into it now. But to recap, for those of you that did not join us, but again, if you want to get the full feeling of it all, you want to go back and watch the first episode. But Greg shared a couple of weeks ago how his life as a child was extremely difficult in a few different ways. But probably one of the most impactful, hurtful facts was that he found out that he was the product of a rape. His life then started to spiral down from choices that he was making. He ultimately quit high school and tried to fill a void by using, drugs and sex. And then he meets and starts a relationship with a young lady who later becomes pregnant with Greg's first son. And in Greg's mind, he is battling the thought of what kind of father he's going to be, should be, shouldn't be, expected to be. Don't even know if this is his son, but could be. And after all he has lived through and struggled with, the identity of being the product of rape, and telling himself daily that he's worthless, that he's no good, that he is nothing, he maybe for the first time in his life gets truly excited about what is getting ready to happen. And the next thing we know, Greg is in his car racing to the hospital. And we want to know why you were so excited. If you're living this life daily, looking into the mirror and, you worthless piece of crap, you mean nothing, you are nothing, why are you so excited?
Wow, that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Great question. I'm Greg, by the way. And I'm a beautiful butterfly. So
You are.
The biggest reason why at that moment I was racing in my car, going toward the hospital, and the excitement was, my son, who at the time, I really had put up this really, really, really awesome front of that's not my kid, kind of thing. Like the girl that I was with, I had let her get really deep into my head about other people that my ex-wife had supposedly gotten with, and that kind of thing. And so I was like super excited because all of that facade that I had been like living, all of the like, oh, is not mine, like all of that kind of broke, and I kind of admitted to myself that like I really feel like this is actually happening. Like I feel like I'm actually a father. Like I feel like that's truth, and I'm excited to be that. And the biggest reason why I was excited to be that is because like, hey, this is my chance to mean something. Like this is my chance to like do better than what I got. And like this is my chance to mean something, like something somewhere needs me, like whether it's like a kid or like an ant, or like I don't know, a leaf. But there's this little human being that needs me. So yeah, pedal to the metal, let's freaking go, not to mention, I like going fast. So, it was like, yes, this just makes sense. I'm going, it was crazy. I didn't even see any cops. It was just like, straight there. Like it was a little 4-cylinder Pontiac Grand Dam. Damn near blew the motor up in it trying to get from Stephenville to Fort Worth. It was going so fast. I remember I got there and like I get to the desk, I'm like, that tells the name, that kind of thing, and I rush up there and I come around the corner, the door's open, come around the corner. And I remember seeing this other guy, like I knew the cat, like I knew him. And I knew he wasn't family. Like this ain't your cousin or your uncle or nothing. Like this is that other dude, like so I remember like walk around the corner, I see him holding my son. And you notice I said my son, because at that point when I when I walk around that corner and I saw him and then I saw my son. And like it was that like, oh, I know that like that's mine and I'm going to hurt you. Like I'm going to literally break your face right now. That was like the first thing that went through my head. Like, get your hands off my baby boy, that kind of thing. And I took every bit of like self-control to pull it together. So, go in there, end up like I held him for the first time, and it was just like looking into his eyes. It was like a vortex of love. It was like, wow, wow, this is what life is. This is what life is about. Like, wow, this little human, this little, you know, baby boy is so much me. And alive, and like I had a hand in this, like he needs me, kind of like this, just I am him, almost. Like it was just this crazy, just kind of feeling, right? um and I'll never forget that. It was such an impactful feeling for me, because I was just like, all right, I'm gonna be a badass dad. Hell yeah, um and then from there, it went to, I broke up with that girl. Is the fighting, it was again the repeat of the relationships that I've had of past, just fight, 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 repeat of what I've seen. Those of you that caught the last one, if you haven't caught the last one, go do that.
Yes.
But yeah, so it was just a repeat of that. So I ended that. I was like, I don't want this. Because I still had this little in the back of my head, the back of my heart, kind of like I really need to do the right thing and be with the person that had my kid,
Right.
like. And then there was just like this attraction that I still had with her, like this little spark, that I didn't want to admit to myself that I had, because I remember, like, in the last one, like I broke up with her because she was, the young girl and that kind of thing, and I wanted to explore and blah 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 with the older chick.
Right. Right.
So I ended up actually going and getting back with the mother of my son. And things were pretty all right. They were pretty awesome, actually, for a little while. Basically our like disruptive, like, relational programmings were working together for a little bit. So like the dysfunctional beliefs that we had in a relationship, they kind of worked together for a little bit, where like she kind of believed in this and was kind of taught this more like subservient kind of like, way of being a wife and that kind of thing, and like make sure this is done at this time and your house is clean, you're taking care of the kids, blah blah blah. And then I was taught more like, though, go to work and all that good stuff. Your stuff is going to be taken care of when you get home. But your job is to, work and that kind of thing, and, play with the kids when you get home and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Do the husbandly duties for the wife. And, like, absolutely. And it's supposed to be every single night, because when you're married, you're supposed to have that, or when you have somebody, that you have a family with, you're supposed to have that every night. So like I did that and she did that and it was working very well. and then it didn't. It was like it was vibing and it was working cohesively, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And it was again because like those like holes that we already had inside of ourselves. Again, like for me, like that you're not good enough, that you'll never be good enough, that you're a failure, that like all these underlying beliefs that I had built for myself as like from childhood,
Right.
just bled into this now relationship that, I was like, I've got this kid with her, so I'm gonna like I gotta be with this chick forever, like this is how it has to be, so like I kind of already felt almost trapped, but I was like, this is how I got to do. This is my existence. So, um, I also had this more like, I don't know, bitch, do what I say kind of attitude, like, so that didn't help at all. That wasn't helping her, emotional like issues
Right.
that she was bringing to the table, which, I mean, she had issues with, like just authority, father figures, that kind of thing, just like I did. It just manifested in a different way. So it ended up starting to unravel each other, then at one point she ended up cheating on me, and that moment was when I lost I lost my respect for the relationship, for her, for like um being like I lost like the want to like I want to be a good husband for you or one day. Like I want to be like the best because I mean we weren't even married at this point, but
Right.
like I lost that like future kind of like I want to be the best for you, blah blah blah, just lost that because it hurt me so deeply because I had believed so intently that that wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So when it did, and it was just like, oh, it was like, all right. So my defense mechanism was to just like take that like hurt and just turn it into anger and do what I always did with all the hurt and the way that I felt about myself from the a young age, that feeling of not being good enough and all that good stuff. I just turn anger and just lash out, you know. Find those perfect moments to just be like, oh yeah, and just lash out at whoever happens to be in front of you.
Mhm.
And so many times that was her. But and then so many times it was me, from her, So um I'll never forget. We get to a like a New Year's, and like I had been just hearing over and over and over about how many other people that she knows have had gotten married or gotten or had proposed or whatever, and I kept saying I'm not ready yet. We're not ready yet. I wanted to have more financial blah blah blah. I was like we're not ready yet. I wanted to get a good ring and all that good stuff, right? And she just kept on and on and on and on. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it then, like, all right, because that was kind of the tone of our relationship. We kind of did things out of spite from each other, So I was like, you know what? Fuck it then. I'll figure something out. So I didn't know. I ended up getting this ring from her brother who had stolen it from somebody. And we made the exchange at a Walmart parking lot in Cleveland, Texas. It was great. It was like, dude, look at what I got. It's cute, right? I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't even want to know. Yeah, I'll take it. So yeah, so I'm like, I have this plan, and we're gonna go to see our friends in the neighboring town. Sorry, I had to wet my whistle,
Mhm.
and in New Year's, and I'm gonna pop the question at the ball drop, cliche, right? But that's what I'm gonna do. So I'll never forget. It was the funniest thing ever because like we're at our friend's house and like the closer and closer it gets to the ball dropping, like the more and more she's kind of getting sour about like because remember she's been on me and on me and on me about like I'm not proposing, I'm not proposing, I'm not proposing. When are you gonna propose? When are you gonna propose, right? And like she's always wanted to be proposed to, in that setting and like New Year's whatever, so she's getting sour and sour closer it gets. I mean, we start to count down and she's sitting on the couch and she's like got her arms crossed and she's just face getting redder and redder and redder as you just like 5 4 she's just like just mad as a motherfucker, like 2 what. And then I drop down on my knee. Everybody goes, Happy New Year's. I go, will you marry me? And she goes from like
You imagine
like
a hornet.
like just like angry, like cut a bitch angry to like, oh my goodness, oh yeah, baby, oh my god, yes, you know. It was great. It was great, you know. So, and I remember thinking like, bitch, that's what I thought, you know, that kind of thing, right? But we ended up having a great time that night, and then you know we ended up throwing together a wedding really quickly. We got married. We had a like crazy quick you know wedding night that ended up not really turning out the best way. It was comical, and I'll save that one for like a more like you know X-rated show. But it was a funny show, a funny night. But it was
You kind of said that the night was almost sort of a not a reflection of, but possibly a look into the future because it was
yes.
so terrible.
Yeah, it was definitely an homage to
Yes,
what was to come
yes.
with our relationship, a total shit show. So, you know, after that night, you know, after we got married, it just things our dysfunction just started to unravel because I know my like demons really started to come out. The and I call them demons, which they're just parts of me, they were just unresolved parts of me, like angry parts of me, right? Things that I've held on from. Oh yeah, you're a product of a rape. You have no purpose.
Mm,
To you know, like oh you're a high school dropout. Oh you're a college dropout. Oh you're like all these dropout, failure. You know, so all these personal beliefs that I have, and like not really loving myself at all. Like really had like loathing myself. Really like despising myself, you know. And then now I have this marriage which you know is physical. Like there's verbal abuse, and then now there's physical,
mhm,
which I mean there had always been like physical from like a one person perspective, but then you know at one point you know she like hit me and I snapped.
mhm.
And after taking it for so long, I just snapped, and I threw her across the room in an instant. And like I remember seeing her fly across the room and going, "Oh shit," you know, like I fucked up, you know,
Mhm.
oh my God, that's not what I wanted to do. And I was pretty much like I was over there as she's like landing on the ground. You're like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And of course, like don't touch me. That was obviously, you know, it wasn't a good show. It wasn't a
Right.
good situation whatsoever. It was quite terrible. And after that, it was like the violence became just a normal thing,
Mm,
both sides. It
mhm.
became like if I saw her like coming and like raising her fist towards me, I would like, you know, go ahead and I would just like grab her wrist and put her on the couch, you know, and just like I'm not getting up until you're done, you know, because I just got tired of getting wailed on, you know.
Right.
But then there was times where like became so normal that like I was in such a I don't know, just a like dead inside kind of way that if I saw or sensed that she was going to like smack me, or if she started to raise her hand towards me, like I would just reach up and smack her.
Mhm,
Like, listen, I'm not in the mood to get up and put you on the ground and like wait until you're done. I'm not in the mood for it right now.
mhm.
So if you want to keep doing this, I'm gonna smack you again, but harder. Like, just leave me alone.
Right.
You know, so that like that's kind of the look into that. So fast forward, we have our second child,
Mhm.
and you know, like that was the whole aura around it was very like turmoil. Like it was all kind of turmoil because where the date that we conceived him and the date that she was unfaithful to me was really close. So like the whole time I'm like, is he mine? Is you know this guy's blah blah
Right.
blah, you know. So like we went through that whole time. Oh my gosh, it was I mean, it was what I was describing earlier times 10 because now we have this whole other thing. So like I'm constantly throwing it in her face, you know, like I'm not being really good about this. Like I'm not acting in any kind of chivalrous way. So like
Mm, mhm.
any folks out there listening, like, oh, at least you stayed around. Like, no, don't get it twisted. I was a dick the whole time I stayed around. And the like cool part about it is like we don't let anybody into the room, you know, when he's you know about to pop, right? And like she's like just gonna be you and I, that kind of thing, because like she really didn't know either. So we're
Right.
like, all right, it's gonna go down one way or another. Whoo, you know. But the cool thing about it is like I remember feeling in the hospital, like when like getting ready to she's starting to have contractions and that kind of thing, and it's getting closer and closer to like, either having my next son or like finding out like, you know, this is not my son,
Right.
like but as we get close to it, like I wanted it. I wanted it to be mine. I wanted him to be mine so bad because I wanted that feeling again.
Mhm.
I wanted to look into the eyes of my son, as, like first person that he saw, like I wanted to see into his beautiful, like unlike like tainted eyes,
Mhm.
like his untouched eyes, his absolutely beautiful soul. I wanted to look into that
Mm.
because that's exactly what I saw when my first son was born, and
Right.
that feeling of like, like that's what life is supposed to be. This
Right.
is it, because I wanted that so desperately. Like I had no clue how to get to that other than like when a
Looking in
baby's
the eye.
born,
Yes.
when my
Yes.
kid is born, that's what happens, and it was funny. She starts going into labor, and I'm like trying to calm her down and that kind of thing, right? My mind's going because I'm like, it's getting closer. Oh my god, it's getting closer. Excitement, but also like, holy shit, I hope this is my kid, So like I get down really close to her right here, right down like next to her face, right? And her contractions are going, and he's crowning, and so she latches on with both arms, and she's just like squeezing, so her arms are around the back of my neck, right? And so she's putting pressure on the like right in the middle of my neck, and the pillow and her head is like pushing backwards on my head, and then like my shoulders aren't going farther down, so she's just pulling straight on my neck, so I can't breathe, and I'm starting to like black out. Like I'm thinking like, please kid, hurry up, because daddy gonna die. You need to hurry up, daddy gonna die. Like, and I'll never forget, I felt when like that, like the doctor, like got him out. I felt like that pop,
Mhm.
because I felt like her tension and relax, and I was like, oh my god, oh thank you Jesus, like goodness gracious, right? And then when I stood up, I mean, I'm lightheaded, and like I remember like taking breaths because like I shit you not, like I was in and out of like consciousness. I'm like she's squeezing like death squeeze,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
So I look over and I see that like, because like I'm very dark complected, and the other guy was not so dark complected, didn't have as much melanin. So look over and I see that he's very dark. And it hadn't registered yet because I'm still just like, oh my God, trying to like catch my breath. And then it registered. I'm like, yes, but I'm still like dizzy. So like it's almost like an enhanced euphoric feeling because I was like, sweet, this is my kid. Yeah. And I just couldn't stop thinking, gimme, 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 gimme. Let me hold on. Let me catch my balance real quick because I'm still kind of but gimme, let me have this kid. And again, it happened just like clockwork, man. And just I held him, and it was just like holding love,
Mm.
holding unconditional love. And it was just like the experience that I had with my first son, but so different at the same time.
Mhm.
And I remember like being so bewildered at the fact that like it was the same feeling, but it wasn't the same feeling, but it was the same feeling,
Right.
like how does that happen? And I was just like, being a dad is awesome. This is so cool, this is amazing. And wow, this love, right? And after that, we kind of had a good kind of little run. But again, it went right back to fighting. It went back to like the same, but now worse because now there was more stress. There was more mouths to feed. Now there's
Sure.
more like financial stress, which led to more like fighting back and forth. It's your fault. It's this one's fault. And that's when things kind of turned into a like, well, we just were like, well, let's do things on the other side of the law. And like that's when a occupation of body rubs was introduced. But I'll save getting into that for the next segment. So Yeah.
Oh my gosh, time is
I
flying
know.
by
I
so
kind of look
fast,
up. I was like, holy
guys.
crap! We already went through that. Wow.
Yes, but so you guys get into this,
Mm,
like you said, this way to make money,
yeah.
and you're okay with it.
Yeah. I was okay with it for extremely like destructively selfish reasons.
Hmm.
Because I wanted to be involved in a like swinger kind of lifestyle. So I thought if you're gonna do this and get paid for it and like be with like men, then it'll be okay to do this and we can have fun with that. And this could be the job and you could do this to have fun. Okay, cool. So that's how I validated that, like this twisted kind of way of validating something,
And then we're going to find out how you guys got out of that
Yeah.
when we come back. It's amazing, guys. It's amazing. You guys stay tuned. We're going to commercial break. We'll be right back.
Wilfred Brimley for Loafing Dog.
I'm Wilfred Brimley for Loafing Dog. When I get the hankering for a hot dog, I go to Cleveland, Texas. Just a couple blocks off the square, they got Loafing Dog. They got the Neely Dog, the Mary Sunshine Dog, the Casey Dog, and the Shirley Dog. Why, they even got the Pacer Dog, the Brooklyn Dog, and the Jim Dog. Can't forget the Shane Dog, or the Joy Dog, and the Monty Dog. I like that fool. The Nakia Dog and the Braxton Dog round things off. Why, they even got a kids menu too.
Loafing Dog, 208 East Chambers Street, Cleveland, Texas. Lunch, catering, or takeout, plus outdoor seating. Phone number is 817-556-1040.
This is Wilfred Brimley. And don't forget, Loafing Dog won't give you diabetes.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leach Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson, Cleveland, Texas. Leach Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
The voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
We are back to the second half of the show. Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 365 days on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen, go to tuneinjoco.com and download the free app. All of our shows can also be found on any one of your favorite podcast platforms, such as Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, and Spreaker. Check out our lineup and more on jococommunityradio.com. Thanks for tuning in. This episode and more brought to you by Next Level Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep, Nona Reed, at 844.tex.hail or 844-839-4245. Thank you, Next Level Claims, for supporting our shows. Guys, there's so much to the story. There's so much beauty to the story, and I'm so glad that you guys have come back. But I'm going to read a couple of comments here, and if you have any comments, or support or love that you want to share with Greg, please share them. Anna Keene says, hello, Greg McBrayer. Mike Ross says, the birth of a child should bring any man to his knees and realize the responsibility involved with the life that they have taken a part in creating. He also says there's such a bond when the first thing a newborn child sees and feels and hears is the voice of their father. I know and understand that feeling that a dad has at that very moment.
It's powerful.
Ann Keene says it's her first time watching, and she said this is very deep. Anna, it is it's about to get even deeper, and I appreciate you tuning in and watching. So we are back, and again, if you have any comments or love, I'll read them to Greg as we move through. But Greg, we had ended with, and we're going to move through this ring, or this prostitution and whatnot that you guys
that's
have
pretty much the word for it.
moved into.
Otherwise known as body rubs. Basically, body rub with the happy ending. And that's what it started out as, right? So she had actually brought it up. I'm honestly, I don't really understand or remember how she was actually turned on to it, but she had brought it up to me and was like, "Hey, what about this?" And honestly, I think I really like looking back, and I really believe that, like, when she brought that up to me, she really didn't believe that I was going to be like, "Fuck yeah, let's go," but like, I instantly saw it as an opportunity to get something that I wanted, because we had had several conversations about like the whole swinging lifestyle, and that was kind of something that I liked. Because again, going back, referencing the previous show, like, sex was a big part of my life,
Mhm.
and I mean, like, in a way that was more destructive, because
Right.
it was a like an outlet for distraction,
Mhm.
rather than what I see it to be now, which is a beautiful expression of absolute joy, love,
Right.
like, all this good stuff, ecstasy. But yeah, so like, I saw it as kind of like a perverted way to like get what I wanted, right? So I was like, all
Right.
right, cool. I mean, this is what you want to do, like, absolutely cool. Then I want to do this too. So we'll tit for tat. Cool, awesome. So we dove into like the lifestyle or whatever, in the absolute wrong way. And I don't want to say anything bad about the lifestyle of just the swing, that kind of thing. I personally know people. I personally like understand the lifestyle, and honestly, it's a quite beautiful lifestyle. That's a lifestyle that you're going to find the most bias free, most judgment free love, than a lot of other kind of communities that I've been in. So, but I just wanted to make that clear. But in this way, that this entering into it was all the wrong ways, all the wrong
Mhm.
reasons,
Mhm.
all for a perversion, more than just an expression of life,
Right.
So we went into that, and it went really deep, and like I said, it turned into full blown, like, going all out, Pretty Woman style. And then at one point we ended up in an investigation, where we look around and we're like, holy shit. There's literal detectives in this,
Mhm.
and like, wow, this is crazy. This has just got really serious. This is things that, like, we're looking at some time
Right.
if we're not cooperative, that kind of thing. Obviously we were like, sure, whatever you want us to do, we will do. We was just trying to have a good time and get some rocks off. Sorry about, like, all this. So what was really cool about it is there's a lot of lives saved because of like, not necessarily me. I really didn't have anything to do with it other than just the cooperation to keep my mouth shut at the time. But like, she actually had a lot to do with a lot of lives saved,
Mm.
because of this, kind of like ring was, broken up and
Right.
infiltrated and that kind of thing. So it's freaking fantastic, crazy, like, turn of events, and all this is happening while, like, we have, two kids, and our relationship is completely falling apart, and it's heading towards divorce very, very fast. So we're like, hey, brilliant idea. Okay. Like, I got it. We're going to save this marriage. Okay. This is going to be amazing. We're going to have another kid. Okay. That's what we're going to do. Right. So, yeah, we ended up, having another kid. There was like some more infidelity in there. There was like I had cheated twice, like right after, our third kid. Because again, like it just kind of went right back to the old ways. So all that led to divorce. And honestly, as messy as the marriage was, the divorce was super, super clean. Like it was like soup, done. It was crazy. It was like everything just out the window. Anyways, so we end up divorcing. I end up in Granbury. I end up in this shack of a place. Like, I mean, it was literally like about as big as a studio room, like in total. And there was
Which is
little
super small.
Oh yeah, it was tiny. A little cutout for the bathroom with a bathtub that, like, if you stood all the way at one end, you felt it kind of give, like it was gonna fall through the damn floor. So it was like a piece of shit. So
And you were, as yours in this little hole in the wall, you are also feeling
Boom.
self-loathing. You're
Absolutely.
feeling like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
You are feeling this is what I deserve.
Yep.
This divorce, all of this, you're feeling worthless.
Absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head. So I even built some shelves. I remember building some shelves, and there's some really sturdy shelves. I was really proud of my shelves that I built in this piece of shit little like quarter of a trailer house. And then I made this little kitchen area that has like this little pull out hot tray that I screwed down onto this little table that had a little slide. I craftsman, I built all this shit, and I was like, this is cool. And it's still, you can polish a turd up real good, but damn it, it's still a turd,
Right. Right.
So and that was kind of one of the like those thoughts that just kept it was like it kept permeating any other thought, any other time that, like I'd get my kids over and we'd have fun there in the little like nasty ass trailer park, and we'd play and make sure that they stayed away from the the broken beer bottles and that kind of thing, and didn't go near the dumpsters because I knew there's probably needles around there. So like, let's stay right here in my little spot because I know I rake this daily, and I know this is clean for my kids. And I had a reputation around this little area for like, don't fuck with Greg. And I wasn't like an asshole. I wasn't mean. I didn't like being mean because I was already mean enough to myself. So I wanted to be nice to anybody that I felt like needed to be nice to or whatever. But like I had this kind of mentality, like, listen, if you fuck around over here where my kids stay, like I will shoot you and I'll throw your body in the trash can and I'm gonna sleep like a baby. I promise you, because this is my kids. Like this is my blood. This is part of me. Okay. So don't fuck around with my place. There used to be some like drug addicts that lived there or are not. I think they were dealers. Both either or. But anyways, there was a lot of people that would come and knock on my door, at 3 a.m. or whatever when I first moved there. And part of the reputation of being scared of me was, one night I like opened the door and I had this little carbine and I racked one and I stood there at the door and I was like, you knock on this door again, I'm not opening the door. Two are coming through the door. Understand, the person that you're looking for does not live here anymore. I live here. I don't do none of that. This is a clean place and this is where my kids stay. You will lose your life if you make me lose any more sleep, and I meant it because at that point, like, what did I have to lose? Like, fuck it. Like, this is my little like piece of shit castle. But even like building my shelves and like painting and trying to dress it up and all that good stuff. Even all that, like, it couldn't like, I just couldn't change the fact that I was living in a piece of shit. It couldn't change the fact that my life was a piece of shit. And this it's actually something that I was telling you earlier that I was going to say for the radio. The whole rape, product of a rape thing that my mom had told me when I was, little, I found out the truth about that. Right at the time that I had moved into this little place. Actually right after I'd moved there. And I found out that my mom and that my entire family, actually, like, that wasn't the case. That it wasn't rape it was racism.
Mm.
So my mom had dated my biological father, who now I have his contact. I've talked to him. He's he's a cool guy. Um, okay. Damn, I realized that this is the first time that I've spoken about this to anybody that isn't like close family.
Mm.
Um, anyways, so I find out that my mom had actually dated my biological father, and he was into some crazy shit. He was a drug dealer and all this good stuff. He was very well known in Virginia, in where I was born. And my mom was hanging around with him, was dating him, and that kind of thing, and um, just all around all this stuff. And when she found out that she was pregnant, and told my grandfather. Now, my grandfather was a very, very big part of my life and my growing up. Like raised me like his own son, and like he was a very big figure of like manhood in my life, right? But when my mom told him that I was existed, that she was pregnant and who that she was pregnant with or by, um, the story was then like, well, we're not telling anybody that this is not how this is happening. We're not telling anybody that you were dating, a black man. This is not happening. Um, so so the whole way that I had found this out was like I would ask my mom the story. Goodness gracious.
It's okay.
Hang me 1 second, folks. Sorry.
Mm.
I did not expect this. I'm not gonna lie.
It's okay.
So I would ask my mom, the like to just kind of tell me the story, and I would wrestle with just saying that because like how you ask somebody to tell you the story of the night they got raped, like how do you do that? But like there was just something in me that just like I just needed to know who I am because I needed something. I needed something to fill in the blanks. Like I hated myself of all the failures, all the bullshit. I just needed something of like, give me one little piece, a little shred of a detail that maybe I didn't have of who I fucking am.
Right.
So I would ask the question, and I would, like, as I got older and I met more people, I would start realizing little like inconsistencies in the story.
Gotcha.
And I realized the difference because for me, like I've always been really, really analytical, and I always loved like Sherlock Holmes and all that good stuff, and it's just been an innate part of me. So like I've always started to realize that the people that I'd known, like young people that actually been that actually gone through that, like that story was ingrained in them. It was like it happened yesterday. Like even people that I had met that were older that, we in around a campfire, around a party or whatever, and we start talking deep shit. Like that's kind of what always happened around me. I realized that those people, like every single time, it's the same. Like the emotions, those micro gestures, like it's all the same.
Mm.
And I started realizing that there's things that my mom would do that were off, that didn't really indicate like a sorrow or like a fear or like a regret, or it was like a memory, like it was like so I'm like, what's going on? Something doesn't feel right. So I kept asking her, and then fast forward, I'm moving to Granbury, and one day I'm coming home from the gym that I was training at, and I get this message, um, from this black man, and it started out with "I'm your dad," and I was just like, I remember just what, like what? So he said that, and I like, what? So then I read on, and he's talking about he had cancer and that kind of thing, and he just wanted me to know, and he'd been searching for me and found me through my uncle and all this good stuff. So then I brought it up to my mom, and it was such a crazy ordeal. And then all the brokenness in that, I ended up getting in a fist fight with my grandfather, the person that I had looked up to so my whole entire life, because like he ball faced, like he like it didn't admit it. He just lied about it. Like, no,
Right.
I didn't say that kind of thing. And I was like, but like, there's so much proof that you did, blah, 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 and all this good stuff. So I ended up getting in a fist fight with him, and my mom and me and my mom fell out, and that was my best friend my entire life. And then, like I had been divorced, and, like I failed as a father. And then going even farther back that, I failed as a college student. I failed as a high school student, like back, when I was as a child, I felt like I failed at helping my mom and dad not fight. Like I felt like I failed at like helping my parents provide for the family. Like, so like all of this shit was just like, you are a failure. Um, and it kind of culminated with me kind of sitting in my little like 1-bedroom piece of shit apartment. Like it wasn't even an apartment. It was like I said, it was a third of a trailer house as big as this studio. And I sat on my bed, and I purposely grabbed the slugs. I had a 410 shotgun. I had birdshot for when I like to go shoot, and then I had slugs for if I wanted to kill something. And I reached for the slug, because I said this slug will do the most damage, and it will make sure that I'm dead. And I remember thinking, is I wonder if this is going to go through the roof. And ended up going, yeah, probably. And I remember I went through like the whole scenario, saw myself laying on the bed. I saw the pool of blood. I saw the brain matter on the walls, on the ceiling. And like, I did that because I said, if I am okay with seeing my dead body, if I am okay with seeing my lifeless body sitting there, if I'm okay with seeing my mom walk in on this, my best friends, my kids, if I'm okay with seeing all these people walk in on my dead body, then I'm good. Then I'm pulling the trigger. And every single scenario that I'd run, it was just like, I'm good with that. Like, I'm good with that, because all of the things in my life had led up to, you are just one big waste of space, one big failure. And at that point, I had put the guy on the ground, and I was ready to like pull the trigger with my toe, and like I had thought it all out. And at that point, I hear knock, 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 and then boom. And then like my friend comes to the door and said, "You're not doing this." And I ended up going and staying with him and his wife at the time. And I stayed there for a little while, and I remember not being able to like come out of that feeling of like I'm out, I'm checked out, like I'm gone. I'm like in this in this state of like, I know I'm gonna die. Like I'm out. I don't want to. I don't want to keep breathing. I'm out. But that state, and not pulling the trigger at that point, and not leaving my brain matter all over the ceiling, not doing that at that point. Like, I feel like that was the point that I started the search that led me to where I am now. Started to like, I started to realize that in that moment, I did not have an ego. In that moment, I didn't have any pain. I didn't have any guilt of anything. I just let go. I was just done. I was just like,
stripped of everything.
I'm nothing. It's like when you jump off the cliff, like my family and I in the summer, we now live close to Whitney Lake. So we go over there all the time. And it's like that leap off the cliff, that like, feeling. And you're about to hit the water, but it's like knowing that when you leap, you're dead. It's like that knowing, and knowing at that point, nothing fucking matters. Nothing. Every mistake you've ever made doesn't fucking matter. You're nothing. You've clicked out. And so for me to be at that state, and like I was just lost in that state for hours and hours, even after we got to their house. And like I remember by the morning, I mean, I stayed up all night. I remember in the morning I was talking and laughing, but I was just in that state for so long. And I was like, that being in that state was kind of what like woke me up to like the existence of another type of life. Like if I'm able to experience that feeling of like absolute freedom, of absolute nothing, like nothing matters, that means that it could be anything. It could be good, bad, ugly. It could be whatever I want it to be. If I can get to that, then life is fucking awesome.
Right.
And that's what started the journey to where I am now. And I mean, I wish we had more time.
I know, but you are where you are now because you, and yeah, we hardly have any time, but you are where you are now because you dug deep. You found what love, unconditional love really is, how it is to really love yourself, how it is to be able to look in your mirror and that you know that love knows no boundaries, no race, no religion, no, like you said, no deity. There is nothing that true love knows no boundaries.
Yeah.
And, you know, Greg, I thank you so much because you've missed 2 nights of work. You work on Monday nights and you missed work tonight. And I dare not ask you to miss again. There is just so much to you really need to write a book.
It's in the works.
But tell me, I'm going to ask you, who is Greg McBrayer today? And I thank God you're alive. Who are you today?
It's simple. I am a human being who chooses to love you unconditionally. That's exactly who I am. Because I understand the power of choice. I understand that our entire existence is choice. Every single day is choice. Whether we are miserable, whether we are blissful, whether we are anxious, whether we are in joy, whether we are feeling love, it's all our choice.
And how do you choose to live life now?
I ask myself questions. I choose to live in a way that is fulfilling to me. And you know what? That way just so happens to be a way of unconditional love. Because I can choose to unconditionally love me. I can choose to come out here and be raw as shit and talk about how I was basically a pimp to my ex-wife live on the radio and unconditionally love myself and see the beauty in each and every moment of my life, each and every horrible mistake, quote unquote mistake, and see how it's taught me.
Absolutely.
And use that to unconditionally love myself more. So therefore, I can't help but unconditionally love you. I can't help but unconditionally love every single person who's listening right now. I can't help but do that because that's just my default. Because I choose to see that way in myself. So, I mean, for me, what I've understood through all the bullshit I've lived is what you see in yourself is exactly what you're going to see everywhere else. So you might as well fall madly in love with you. Because that's the way to live a beautiful life.
It is. And you're one beautiful human being. And I thank God for whoever busted down that door, that you're here today. I love you, Greg. And I thank you so much for coming on. You're an amazing young man. And we are so blessed that you're here and that you shared your story.
Oh
you guys have a
gosh,
great night. We'll see you guys next week.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Former U.S. Senator David Perdue says he'll challenge fellow Republican Brian Kemp in the race for Georgia governor. Correspondent Bob Agnew reports.
Perdue has been pondering a gubernatorial bid since failing to win a Senate runoff last year against Democrat John Ossoff. Incumbent Brian Kemp has fallen out of favor with former President Trump for allegedly allowing Democrats to engage in irregularities in the 2020 election, and he's accused of failing to push back against black voting rights activist Stacey Abrams, soon to be the 2022 Democratic nominee. Perdue says Kemp, in his words, cost us 2 Senate seats, the Senate majority, and gave Joe Biden free rein. Bob Agnew reporting.
Former U.S. presidents are paying tribute to